Has anyone ever realized how absolutely hilarious Skypiea was? Like, Enel was just minding his own business when a man made of rubber and his crew of lunatics come out of nowhere and just start messing everything up. And as soon as the rubber lunatic finds out that the ruler of Skypiea isn't exactly 100% morally correct, he just immediately goes full Rico Rodriguez mode and tries to liberate a whole race of people he met like 12 hours ago. Like, if you gave someone the plot of Skypiea without any context, they'd think you're f***ing nuts, okay? They'd think you're tripping balls. Skypiea is just so odd in so many ways, but it's hilarious, so I'm here for it. So please get comfy as I'm going to go over the entire story. Now we have to start at the very beginning, and the Straw Hats' journey starts with them taking the knockup stream up to Skypiea. They somehow managed to ride up a very powerful pressurized water pillar that launched them into a sea of clouds. And before the Straw Hats can even take in the view and enjoy themselves for 5 seconds, some random nut job with a shield and a rocket launcher comes flying out of nowhere and tries to blow them to bits. Like, imagine that. You have just discovered a mythical land that very few have ever been to, and the first thing you see is some half-naked lunatic trying to blow you to smithereens. And then they're saved by some loony old man who rides a pink polka dot horse, a bird or a horse, I'm not quite sure, and he carries around a javelin like it's all the rage. Like, you cannot look at this guy and get any indication of normal at all. He looks like a visual representation of acid. Anyway, he calls himself Gone Full, and he gives the Straw Hats a whistle so that they can summon Mr. Valkyrie Gone Wrong at any time to save them. So they continue their journey to Skypiea until they reach Heaven's Gate, and at Heaven's Gate, this old quack demands that they each pay 1 billion X tolls in order to enter Skypiea, but she also says that she's not going to stop them if they try and enter illegally. Like, Skypiea probably has the worst border control I've ever seen. If I was to visualize their security in one picture, it would look something like this. Now, the first perspective I want you to picture for me is Conus. So you are Conus, and you are a functional and respected member of society, and you just happened to be on Angel's Beach when the Straw Hats arrive. And at first they seem like nice company. You're hanging out with them, telling them all about Skypiea, all about the dials and everything, until you find out that they entered illegally and the White Berets are there to arrest them. But the White Berets are probably the worst law enforcement officers I've ever seen. I'm actually certain that Paul Blart would do a better job than these idiots. Anyway, so the White Berets labeled them as criminals, and you're watching the White Berets and the Straw Hats have probably the most passive-aggressive interaction you've ever seen. Like, they're just going at each other back and forth until finally, in the distance, you spot Nami returning from her trip, and you let out a small sigh of relief, as you know Nami is kind of a reasonable person and should be able to sort all of this nonsense out. And of course, Nami being Nami, once she hears that the fee has gone up to 10 billion X dolls per person, Nami just goes nuts and just completely floors the White Berets captain with the waiver. The Straw Hats are no longer petty trespassers but full-fledged criminals. And here is where you start to feel a little bad, okay? Like, the Straw Hats are nice people, you don't particularly want them to die, but at the same time they do kind of need to be punished for assaulting your version of police. And the White Berets go to arrest them, and Luffy is just having none of it and just beats the living shit out of every single White Beret there. And at this point you finally clock it and you realize that these people are complete and utter lunatics, and they are probably the most dangerous people to be around in the world. Like, these people just attract trouble everywhere they go. And you also find out that they've been sentenced to be judged by the priests of Upper Yard, and you're trying to tell them, like, hey, that's a death sentence, the priests will most certainly kill you. Until Nami asks you how you can actually leave Skypiea, and you tell them that they can get back down through Cloud's End. But you're Conus and you're a citizen of Skypiea, and you're not about to just let wanted criminals leave your island without justice, and also because Enel will most certainly kill you if you don't stop them. So you do your civic duty and you trick the remaining Straw Hats left on the ship. You tell them that there is a current that will take them home, but actually it's a pickup point for the Super Express lobster, and he will take them to the sacrificial altar on Upper Yard. And of course, they get taken to Upper Yard, but you kind of feel bad. Like, these people aren't exactly bad people, they even saved your life, but you know, you have to prioritize your life first. And so now you're only left with Luffy, Sanji and Usopp, and they also want to go to Upper Yard. So you carry on with your civic duty and you lead them to the docks where they can get a boat to travel to Upper Yard. But the whole way there you have a huge sense of guilt because as far as you know you sent the others to their grave, and you're doing the same with these three. And eventually you fall apart and explain to Luffy how you tricked the rest of the Straw Hats. Even though you know Enel will kill you, it's a price you're willing to pay. So you tell them all this, you get down on your knees, you make a huge confession explaining how you tricked the rest of the Straw Hats, and you'd expect any reasonable person to be annoyed at you for leading their friends to their grave. And they are annoyed, but they're annoyed for all the wrong reasons. It's really confusing. And they're like, why did you tell us that? Why didn't you just keep your mouth shut? Now you're in trouble. And they're like, wait, what? So you guys aren't annoyed, I just led your friends to their graves. Nah, it's fine. Are you sure? Because they're probably on their way to the sacrificial altar right now. Yeah, it's fine, Zoro's with them. And then out of nowhere, God Enel strikes a lightning down on you from above. And Luffy tries to save you, but in the end, it was Ganfall, the loony knockoff Valkyrie, who once again saved the day. And he ends up taking you to his house along with your father, where you're safe. Now from here, I want to switch to Luffy's perspective. So picture this for me. You are Monkey D. Luffy, and the only thing you want to do is have an adventure. It doesn't matter if this adventure leads to the collapse of an entire nation or if it results in everyone getting killed. As long as this nut job gets to have an adventure, he's fine, okay? So you're Luffy and you're with Sanji and Usopp and you're separated from the rest of the crew. You were told they were in danger, but you don't really care too much as Zoro is with them. So you can just relax and make your way to Upper Yard as you want to go there anyway. So you set off in a boat that looks like a crow, and as you're making your way there, you encounter a lot of booby trap and shipwrecks. And of course, Usopp being Usopp, he's shitting it, but you and Sanji remain calm until you come across 4 doors. And you're thinking to yourself that this probably means whichever door we pick will lead to the priest representing that door. And the 4 options are swamp, iron, string and spheres. And of course, you pick the less menacing one, spheres. And you come in contact with Satori. Now Satori just looks like a jackass. He is probably one of the most annoying characters in One Piece. He literally just looks like a pain in the ass. So you, Sanji and Usopp go to fight this guy and all 3 of you get your asses handed to you. Like this guy just has some weird power where he can sense all your moves before you can make them. It's called mantra, but of course we all know it is hacky. And for like 7 episodes straight, you are just getting your asses whooped by Satori until Luffy finally manages to grab hold of him and just does not let go. He wraps his entire body around Satori and just holds him in place like a tee-up for Sanji to just knock the stuffing out of him. And rightfully so, like Satori was incredibly irritating. And quickly, I just want to cut from Luffy's perspective for a second, as whilst all of this is going on, Chopper is currently in a fight of his own. He is fighting a complete pyromaniac that rides a bird and has wings. I mean, he's just burning everything, the mast, the ship. He is just nuts, okay? He even stabs Chopper until the main man himself, Ganfall, makes an appearance. The old lunatic, for whatever reason, is just casually always in the right place at the right time, and he swoops in and proceeds to have probably one of the weirdest fights in One Piece history with Shura the Priest. This fight consisted of a pyromaniac and a nutjob going head to head in a jousting competition in the sky. Like, I cannot emphasize how nuts that is. They are having a jousting competition in the sky, riding oddly huge birds. And eventually the priest takes the W and kills Chopper and Ganfall, but actually they're saved by Southbirds. And believe it or not, Ganfall used to be God before Enel, so he has that old leader clout, if you will. And also, while Chopper is fighting for his life, Nami, Robin and Zoro are on a little peaceful adventure searching for treasure. Like the rest of the Straw Hats are literally fighting for their very lives, and these 3 are just out on a merry stroll through the woods. And eventually everyone reunites. Nami, Robin, Zoro, they all return and they all sit in a circle and tell everyone stories about their own adventures. We learn that Upper Yard was once part of Jaya, the priests can use haki or mantra to read your minds, and a pyromaniac let loose on the merry. Not a very productive day at all, but it's common with the Straw Hats. But of course, this is One Piece, and more importantly, Luffy is here, so the day is not over yet, and the Straw Hats throw an absolute rager in the woods. They're having their own Project X in enemy territory after most of them, like, literally almost died. It's such a big party that the wolves even join in. And of course, we have the iconic sun god Nika foreshadowing from Oda. Anyways, once morning hits, the Straw Hats all split up in order to explore the island and find the City of Gold. Now from here, I want to switch to Enel's perspective. So you are God Enel, and you overthrew the former god 6 years ago, and ever since then, you have just been obsessed with finding your dreamland of endless worth. You have had people slaving away building your flying boat so you can go to your dreamland. And literally the day before you can set off, Mr. Lunatic and his band of nutjobs just appear on Skypiea, and they cause a bit of trouble, but you are living lightning, and to the best of your knowledge, you can beat absolutely everyone in a fight, so you're not worried in the slightest. So you summon all your priests, who if you don't know are basically Enel's strongest underlings, and you tell them, hey, I have a whole game plan for tomorrow. It's a whole big thing I've been excited for. I've predicted only 5 people will be left alive at the end of the day. That's me and you guys. No one else. I want you to deal with these people. Do not let anyone else alive. Do you hear me? And they're like, yeah, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, Enel. And you're like, good. And also, we could be expecting an attack from the Shandians, so just be on your guard. And you give them free roam of upper yards just to do what they need to do, okay? And literally the next morning when you wake up, you find out that already 2 of your priests have been put in a pack. And you're just like, you couldn't have even just made it till morning. I mean, come on. And at this point, you're just pissed off and you're bored, and you want to get in on the action yourself. So you go and you visit the Blue Sea people on the ship. You don't even go there to fight, and literally straight away, Sanji just tries to fight you, and you're just like, you couldn't have even given me 2 seconds. I didn't even come here to fight, I came here to talk. And you just whoop his ass, and then you whoop Usopp's ass, you zap him to bits. They're down and out for the count. And then you go to find the Shandians, and you find Kamakiri, and you do probably the most disrespectful thing in anime history. You say, hey, I'm just gonna sit here for 5 minutes, do what you gotta do. Stab me, punch me, whatever, you just have 5 minutes. And for 5 minutes straight, this guy just goes to town on you, stabbing you repeatedly through the head, until the 5 minutes are up. Now you, as a self-proclaimed god, you need to have a little power to back up that statement. So you give him a small demonstration of your power. You reveal to him that you've eaten the Goro Goro no Mi and you are living lightning. And you shock him with like 100 million volts of lightning. And at this point, you've gotten a little power hungry. You want to cause some more chaos because you're just fucking nuts, okay? You're Enel, you're just tormenting people for fun. You're like that one guy that just pisses people off for fun. So you travel up Giant Jack until you find Lackey. Now you know Lackey has a bit of a relationship with Wiper, the leader of the Shandians, and you do the most devious thing you can think of. You pick up Wiper's girl while he's watching and just electrocute the stuffing out of her, while Wiper is watching. Like, you are just a straight menace and should definitely not be in charge of a country, let alone a nation. Actually, scratch that. You shouldn't even be allowed to live at all, quite frankly. And after all of this, you're still not satisfied, and you come into the only people, to your knowledge, who could possibly pose a threat to you. Zoro, Wiper, Robin, and Ganful. Wiper, believe it or not, actually ends up killing you with a rejectile. But you, I'm not joking, restart your own heart and come back from the land of the dead to finish what you started. Like, at this point, even me as the viewer is starting to think that you might actually be God. You were literally dead and you restarted your own heart. And once you beat them all, you spot Nami, but you also spot her. And you're like, you know what? You can come with me to my dreamland. So you and Nami head off for the ship, the Arc Maxim. And you think there is no one left who could possibly fight you until you use your Mantra and you sense some random person just charging at you at full pace. And once you get there, you have a couple of questions for him. You're like, I'm sorry, but who the hell are you and where the hell were you? And he's like, I was like trapped inside a giant snake for like 15 episodes straight. I thought it was a cave at first, but no, it was a snake. Wait, what? You were in a snake? But none of that matters now, because I came here to whoop your ass, so you better get ready. You're like, whoa, wait, who are you? And he goes to try and fight you, and you go to zap him. And you think he dodged it, and you think that's the problem. He dodged it. So you try it again, and this time you know for sure you hit him with enough electricity that Thor and Electro would be jealous. And this motherfucker stands there staring at you completely unfazed, like nothing happened. And you're just like, what in the This lunatic then charges directly at you and kicks you harder than you have ever been kicked before. And you're just flabbergasted. Like, up until this point, no one has ever survived your lightning attacks, yet alone manage to hit you as you have Logia powers. And you're really trying to figure this out because to the best of your knowledge, nothing should be able to hurt you or survive your lightning. This lunatic then has the audacity to tell you exactly why he can hit you, because he's rubber. And of course you don't live on the blue sea, so you don't have a clue what rubber is. But you do a bit of thinking and you think that slash attacks might work, and they do. Slash attacks are like Luffy's only weakness, and from here on out you pretty much dominate the fight. You whoop his ass, get the arc maximum in the air, whoop his ass again, and at this point you're just pissed off, okay? Like the day has not gone to plan, and you take your frustration out by just destroying everything around you. And while you're destroying everything around you, this lunatic gets back up and starts trying to fight you again. So you whoop his ass again, and you melt a huge golden ball on the end of his arm and you throw him over the ship at like 20,000 feet in the air, and you think that you'll never see him again until you spot this lunatic running up Giant Jack with the ball dragging alongside him, and you're just like, this guy cannot be serious. How many times is he going to try and fight me? And he ends up grabbing the side of your ship, and you just look over him and just give him a look of exhaustion. You're like, how many times are you going to defy me? Like, you never learn. And you kick him off the side of the ship again. You send him tumbling down to the ground, and you're thinking you're finally done with this guy, you'll never see him again. And you go back to destroying Skypiea. And it's not long later when you look to your side and you see this lunatic riding down the top of Giant Jack, and you get scared because you realize that this guy is fucking nuts, okay? You realize that this guy is dangerous and he is stupid and you need to stay away from him. And you just take zero chances. You power up to full strength to fight this guy, and he punches you harder than you ever thought possible. He uses his arm as a rubber rifle and whacks you into the bell with his golden arm. And you are just down for the count. Like, he knocked you into next week. He hit you so hard, bells started ringing. Literally. And you and your ship just go tumbling down below. Now, I'm not sure what exactly became of Enel after this. I'm pretty sure he went to the moon and did more devious acts there, but I'm not quite sure. And yeah, that's about it for this video on Skypiea. Now, I do want to say that this video and my channel is hugely inspired by Mugiwara no Goofy. His channel is absolutely hilarious and I love his style of making videos, so please go subscribe to him and check him out if you haven't already. He is hilarious. So yeah, thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments if I missed anything or if you have any other video ideas, and I'll see you in the next video.